Hello there, my dear Kenvians. This is PapaKenn, and I am currently recording what is going to be, I guess, the first episode of Indie Insert Day here, because I don't yet know what day I'm actually going to do this on. But yes, this is actually the original Binding of Isaac, available on Steam. And, well, of all the indie games I figured I could play and create a series out of, I figured Binding of Isaac was a good one to start with, because, I mean, it seems fairly popular still. I mean, apparently has a huge fan base, and the Binding, not only that, but Rebirth is supposed to be just absolutely amazing. Now, first of all, I love the music in this game. I have not yet played Rebirth, but the music for this by itself is amazing, so I imagine Rebirth is just phenomenal as well. But, yeah. Well, first of all, to start off with, is Binding of Isaac something that you all would want to see me play on occasion? It's, what do they call it? A roguelike, basically, so it's randomly generated every time you play. So it could be fairly different, so would you want to see me play this game occasionally? And not even necessarily this version, I could do Rebirth, or maybe even Afterbirth, but I figure that should probably wait until I'm a little bit better at the game, since Rebirth is basically just a remastering and upgrade of this game. I figure that's probably a good place to start, other than playing this version of the game. Now, just so you know, there are going to be a few cuts here or there, jumping back and forth between segments where I play, because, I mean, this is technically the second time I've ever played the game, but the first time I've played it for more than probably like 3 minutes, because the first time I played it was actually a while back on my old computer, testing out the recording capabilities, and unfortunately, the recording capabilities for this game on the old computer were not very good, or at least it didn't come out very good, in my opinion. But yeah, so this is really my first time that you're seeing here, my first time playing this game fairly legitimately, and I actually do 2 playthroughs through the course of this video, and seeing the length of the video, I'm sure you can figure how well I managed to do. So yeah, after I went to the shop there, I decided to go on to the boss area and take on Monstro. Now, oh, well, first of all, this is something I forgot to mention when I was, when it first happened in the video. But when I picked up that little Roid Rage power-up, the look on Isaac's face just really disturbed me. It's like you go from this innocent little crying naked child to, well, I mean, it's Roid Rage, obviously, just, this psychotic looking look on his face while still crying, which makes it all the more disturbing. And really, I think that this is the best, I think this is possibly the best monster I could have hoped to face in this game for my first round, because I have seen videos of some of the other bosses in the Binding Isaac games, and dear lord, some of them, trying to get used to the controls of this game would have just destroyed me. Which actually, now that I think about it there, oh yeah, I went through and I bought one of the Spirit Hearts, or Shield Hearts, whatever they're called, as you can see. And this was particularly disturbing. Seeing the kid, like, suffocating in a chest? What the hell? But, oh, I forgot what I forgot my, I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, some of the other boss monsters in this game are just insane. And even a few of them are just really hard for me to get the controls of. And as you can see here, it takes me a bit to get used to how the tiers work while you're moving. Like, and in here as well. Like, I'll be moving back and forth, and in my mind, I'm just playing your typical shooter, where all of your bullets go straight. But no, there's physics to it in this game, which I kinda sorta learned to take advantage of as the gameplay goes along. Oh, I remember what I was going to say earlier. when the video first started, you might have noticed a mouse cursor on screen. Now, I recorded this with not Fraps or anything else, but the recording and editing program that I use is called Power Director. Okay, when I stepped in here first time, I was just kind of like, oh god, they're everywhere. Because well, first of all, I hadn't faced the little creepy crying children that explode into flies, which the crying is just so sad and disturbing. But yeah, as I was saying, the recording for Power Director, the version I have, it came with its own screen recording software, which actually works fairly well. Like, if you're watching this, I'm sure you can probably tell the quality of the video is rather nice. The downside is I can't find a way to have it not show the mouse cursor, so I have to move the mouse all the way off screen. Or if I was using the mouse to aim and shoot in this game, it would appear on screen the whole time, which is really annoying, at least in my opinion. But not only that, but I actually had to adjust the sound, take the sound and video and desync them as far as the recording goes in order to get the sound and video to sync with what you're actually seeing here. Now this attack right here with the 3 tiers is awesome. And there's one thing that I'm actually really curious about, because, oh Gemini, this was an interesting battle, because I had no idea what was going on at the time. It's like I expected them to be connected, but I didn't expect one to be like rushing at me and the other just spitting at me the whole time. But yeah, the 3 eye shot, later in the video you'll see I pick up a weapon that is actually a charge shot, which means in order to shoot multiple times in a row, I have to press the directional keys multiple times so it will keep shooting. So I'm curious whether you can actually shoot faster with the triple eye by doing that, as opposed to what I'm doing here, which is just holding down the attack buttons, which actually would have made this battle a lot easier. It's not too difficult, although as you can see I lost my shield heart there. But yeah, I really am curious. So any of you that have watched or have played this game, and after seeing the way that the small Gemini starts freaking out like that after I killed the big brother or big sibling, whatever, I'm actually quite curious to see what would have happened if I had killed the small one first, like what the big guy would have done. Oh, and here we go with a fight I was not expecting. Krampus. Good lord. This guy took me completely by surprise, and this is another battle in which, like, if pressing the button multiple times instead of just holding down on it, I'm curious whether that would have allowed for a more rapid fire shot, because it's just, I mean, it didn't help any that I was just kind of holding down on the attack button for a while, which made me have to time the shots properly. But oh well, and as you can see I skipped ahead, and you'll see why in just a moment. Oh, there we go, I died. So yeah, I was killed by this thing in some basement. But yeah, I mean, I was going to end the video there and just not do any editing, just let it play out as it was. But at that point, honestly, the game had gripped me quite a bit, so I was ready to go on and give it another try. And thankfully, as you'll see here, I actually do a bit better in some ways. In some ways, I do a bit better on this second playthrough because of how I've managed to get used to the controls a bit more. Now, I am curious whether maybe this version or Rebirth, if I'm able to use a control pad, because I've like, I've gotten used to the layout on a keyboard, but it just doesn't feel natural to me. Oh, okay, and as you can see here, I placed a bomb right here because I noticed, if you'll see, the bomb right below was slightly discolored. So I figured I would give that a shot, see if anything happened, and lo and behold, I actually got some items. So that's one thing that I know, and if any of you didn't know, but if you're playing Binding of Isaac, look for discolored rocks among the rest of them here. Now this is the chocolate milk. This is the charge shot where I discovered that pressing the attack button multiple times in a row will actually allow you to shoot rapid fire, which again makes me wonder whether or not I could have done that with the triple shot. I might have been able to live longer had I known that. Oh yeah, but here I buy a pill. I'm not entirely sure why, and then I trigger it off, and yeah, that was an interesting one. I actually get to see the name of that pill later. Explosive Diarrhea. Yeah. But, oh, and what were these called? Larry Jr.? These, I feel like I've seen this boss before on another video. And the hardest part about them is really just all the little turds that they lay down. Because otherwise they're really not that big of a problem. It's just a matter of, like, if they lay down too many of the little turds, they block your way, and if you think you've gotten a turd completely out of the way, but you haven't, you can't move past it, which is really annoying. So, because as you can see here, I can't move to the right, because there's a little bit of that one left. But I think I managed to kill off the last Larry Jr. here, except for getting hit twice and losing my shield heart. There we go, and finishing him up right here. Yes! Oh, now this power-up, the wire coat hanger, and now there's a coat hanger sticking through his head. I don't even know what to say about that. That's just messed up on so many levels. Oh, how horrid. He has no toilet paper. Which actually does suck, but actually gives a whole different meaning to the chocolate milk. Oh! That was disgusting. I'm sorry. Okay, and one thing I definitely noticed here is that with the different creatures that at least I've faced in these first few levels, the ones that look like Isaac, just with blood for tears, like, they'll go after you. Whoa, oh. That's right. I actually forgot. When I saw that flashing bomb, I was actually freaked out the first time. But, yeah, the little crying guys, like, it's incredibly obvious that they're actually trying to avoid you. It's like they kind of walk towards you, and like, if you were facing away from them, I don't know, maybe they would come towards you, but anytime you're looking at them, it's like they run away. So it honestly makes me feel kind of horrible just going at and attacking those little things. Now these guys, I have no problem fighting and attacking because they're obviously trying to murder you with their blood tears, and in the case of some of the others, the blood spurting out from their neck holes. This is such a disturbing game. The Sun. Now, this is a card that I use here in just a moment, and it actually took me a second to figure out what it did exactly. Yeah, I was taking a lot of hits for the team there for a little bit. Oh, and this little shooting bug, he annoyed the crap out of me. It doesn't take as long as I thought it did while I was playing, but is like, knowing that he can shoot at me, it's like I kept trying to draw him out, and he took forever. But again, it really didn't take as long as I thought it did at the time. And, what is the power-up down here? I forget. Oh, right, the little, attack fly. Which, is kind of disappointing as a power-up. I mean, I do, especially while editing this, I did notice it had some advantages. And I used the sun. And like I said, I didn't know what it did at first until I started moving around the map, and I was just like, oh, wait a minute. There's more of the map revealed what's going on here. So, or basically it reveals the entire map, which is pretty awesome, because it actually gave me the location of a secret room. And then there's these little creepy meat things. And again, this is one of those that when I stepped in the room, I was just like, oh my god, what is this? Thankfully, they weren't really that difficult. But still, it's like kind of bleh. But I think next, I'll be moving to... Yes, this is where I go to the secret room. And it really was kind of a well, not even 50-50. It's like a 1 in 3 chance. Either the bomb in that spot would have worked, or one from one of the 2 adjacent rooms. Just took a bet there, and it worked out pretty well. And the secret room was actually a bit disappointing. There was just 3 coins in there. Oh, and Lust. This was something I didn't know about. Like, I didn't know there were these little, like, mini-bosses in the levels. Oh, that's right. That's where I picked up the pill, and I learned the name of Explosive Diarrhea. And I guess this is sort of a second form of Monstro, because he has longer jumps. The spit of blood is still about the same, and pretty much the same to avoid, but yeah, his hops in this battle are definitely a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? They're a bit more lengthy, and they seem a bit more imposing, whereas the first Monstro was like, it seemed like he was hopping maybe a foot or 2 each time. No, a foot or 2, like, in perspective of the game. I don't know what... Oh, did I say it was easier to avoid his spits? Because I apparently lied. It was a little bit harder for me to try and avoid his bloody spittle. But once again, not that tough of an enemy once you get him out of the way there. And lovely, a health up item. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And now we go to the third area. That was sad. That's sad. That's so mean. But the first area of the caves, and this is actually the farthest I've gotten in the game so far. So I don't know if that means maybe I should spend more time with the original and get used to its mechanics before moving on to Isaac Rebirth, or Binding of Isaac Rebirth, or maybe I should just go ahead with that because it's essentially the same thing, just modified and updated. And these monsters really got on my nerves. It was hard for me to tell exactly what triggered them to pop up, because sometimes they would pop up when I got close, other times it seems like they would only pop up when I got farther away. So yeah, I don't know. But, of course, charging up my shot. And this was an interesting area. Like, this is definitely one that freaked me out because it was just like, there were things going on at all angles. There was this floating, moving, 2 disembodied heads. One that was clearly more powerful than the other. And I really wish that little attack fly was one that, like, moved out and attacked, but maybe they don't have that in this game. But, yes, okay, so this is... I tried here to use the Explosive Diarrhea thinking that maybe I would be able to get some of the items. And I do! But I did not realize that bomb explosions will bounce the other bombs away, which hurt me, and that was really annoying. I got a pill and I was just like, oh hey, I'll try this out. Why not? Oh, because it gave me a bad trip and I'm suddenly down to half a heart. Oh, that was so annoying. That was so very annoying. And yeah, as I'm sure you can guess, boom, poor Isaac died. Poor little Isaac. Such a cruel world indeed. So again, thank you all for joining me for the very first PapaKenn Plays Indie Day Month thing. I'll come up with a better name for this soon. Maybe by the time I publish this. But yeah, let me know if you would like to see me play more of the original Binding of Isaac, or if you'd like to see me jump up to Rebirth, since that's one of the more updated versions. Again, I'm going to hold off of Afterbirth until I'm more familiar with the game and a little bit more just familiar in general with how it works. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that apparently both Rebirth and Afterbirth have a mod for them that is Undertale related. I think they call it just the Binding of Undertale, and you get to play all these different characters from Undertale. All the monsters, I believe, are still the same, like as far as Binding of Isaac goes. But you get to play as those characters. They each start out with their own special power, which sounds really interesting to me. And yeah, I'd be interested to give that a try. But again, if any of you are interested in me pursuing this game further, or if there are any other indie games you would like to see me play for PapaKenn Plays Indie Insert Day here, just let me know in the comments down below. Alright everyone, thank you very much for joining me once again, and until next time, I'm PapaKenn, and Alonzi!